Hello and good evening. Live at 5 on the 2nd of March. Let's have a look at what we've got here. So what we're talking about this evening is a kind of continuation from the conversations we've been having during the week. And during the week, the conversations have been a bit varied because I was asked to do this subject, talking about blocks to self-care. And it's kind of difficult because everybody blocks themselves from self-care in a different way. So let me think. Let's start with real self-care. I've covered this subject at length on a previous week's worth of content where we've talked about how self-care is not all bubble baths and massages. We've talked about walking, being in nature, jumping around the house to some 80s pop whatever while you're doing the cleaning. That kind of stuff can still be and is, in my opinion, self-care. So that being said, it's really easy for people pleasers to allow any kind of distraction or any kind of task, especially if it's like something they can do for someone else, to block them actually caring about themselves. And I wanted to dive into this deeper because you'll be surprised at what the main reason really is, because it's got nothing to do with overcommitting and self-worth and stuff like that. This is something different. We've talked about self-worth, self-respect, and those things easily get lost when people pleasers don't look after themselves. But that isn't a block to self-care. The consequences that those blocks that they come up with get warped and become the validating task. If you're watching this on the replay, I'd like you to pause for a second, pause the video, and ask yourself, who am I? Yeah. Who am I? And once you've had a little bit of a think, come back to me here and we'll go on. I can almost guarantee that all of you have written things like mum, wife, what we got, mum, wife, taxi driver, you know, the name of your job, all those kind of stuff. But I'm really looking for the who are you, that is, who are you when it's not a task that you are performing for someone else. So maybe pause the video again, because these kind of task things, these, you know, I'm a volunteer, I over deliver, I do everything for my kids because I'm an amazing mum, I'm super mum, yeah, all of these kind of things are not actually you. They're just tasks that you perform. So dig a little bit deeper. Pause the video again if you want to. But if not, I'm going to explain how a very simple habit, something you do every day, like cleaning your teeth, becomes a pattern. And by pattern, I mean a pattern or a neural pathway in your brain that is easily repeatable. For instance, you don't have to relearn how to clean your teeth or tie your shoelaces. Once you've cracked it, unless you have a brain injury, of course. But these things, you know, become patterns because we repeat them over and over again. So next time, well, actually, before we go on to next time, when it comes to these patterns, I'm going to invite you during this workshop to actually start respecting yourself and looking for proof that you're worthy of that respect, because these patterns form in your mind, and it's so easy for you to just put something ahead of yourself and do it over and over again. I said earlier on the week that when I worked in particular with Julie, she was the first one to go through the completed 3Ps system. And it gave her a really clear understanding of individually why she blocked her own self-care. Yeah. And if you're ready to work with me, it's things like, if you're ready to start putting yourself first, you may be ready to work with me. If you're ready to create boundaries, if you're ready to stick to them, if you're prepared to do the work, yeah, then you might be ready to work with me. Those of you who are seeking quick fixes, we're probably not very well suited, because what I know to be true and what I believe is that fast won't last. In my Facebook group, I'm constantly posting little, tidbits of information, whether it's a useful PDF that I might add to the emotional health handbook, or a little video on a breath technique, or maybe can you try out this guided meditation for me and tell me what you think? Those things are always going into the Facebook group, and I am endeavouring to have a small workshop like this every week. So let's get back to the blocks to self-care. I myself have been a raging people pleaser, and most definitely a perfectionist, both of which are trauma responses, for all of my, well, certainly all of my grown-up life, probably not when I was a child. And these traumas can form from something that may seem insignificant looking back at it, or even at the time. But these trauma responses do build up in our bodies. And they do it because we are desperate to be accepted, to be loved, to be included, to be seen as significant in the world around us. In fact, if you find that emotional need sentence a little bit curiosity triggering, anyway, if you want to know more, let me know, because somewhere in this Facebook group there is a video that I did all about human needs. Now, in the group, I did ask that before you came to this workshop, that you had a think about occasions that you have like gone along with something, or not complained about unacceptable behavior, maybe in the workplace, or maybe done something that you felt you had to do just because of pressure around you, that kind of peer pressure. Or maybe even if you've ever felt like doing the household chores is something that you have to do, because if somebody else tries to do them, they don't do it right, and then you have to redo it all again anyway. Yeah, that little touch of perfectionism on top of the people pleasing. I asked you to have a think about that, because I want to dive deeper into how we create that kind of mental train of thought. Yeah, I have to do it because I'm the only one who can do it right. That train of thought. I'm going to talk in a little while about well, maybe I might go into tools to get yourself out of this, but it's important that you have a think about those times and those occasions where you're going on with something just for the sake of it, because this workshop is really about creating proof of safety. Yeah, that's what it is that you're chasing when you're trying to be a people pleaser. You're trying to create a safe space. So, okay, quick recap. People pleasers create distractions, and distractions block them from looking after themselves. But this isn't the real reason why these things block you. Yeah, it's to do with the patterns that form because of your chosen behaviors. Initially, it might not have been a choice, but by the time you've done it 50,000 times, it isn't a choice anymore. It becomes a pattern, becomes a habit. So let's start with thinking for a moment. And if there was anybody watching this live, I don't think there is. I can't see anybody watching live. No, there's nobody coming up in my chat anyway. If you validate yourself by the tasks that you do, mother, wife, Wonder Woman, as we said earlier, if you choose to do things because other people don't do it good enough, then I'm inviting you at this point right now to think about how you show yourself. Think of yourself as like a third party. How do I show myself that I actually matter? And then we want to start looking for proof to back that up. Just as for instance, right? When I was a smoker, I used to smoke every day. And the lizard part of my brain learnt that smoking every day and not dying meant that smoking every day obviously had something to do with staying safe and staying alive. So when I didn't smoke, the urge to smoke became stronger and stronger and stronger until I did, because my lizard brain thinks that smoking is safe. Yeah? And then that kind of pattern can easily be formed with things like junk food. If I eat junk food every day and do not die, then my lizard brain thinks that junk food is necessary for my survival. Next thing is a little bit more triggering, because it's an example of men or women who stay in an abusive relationship. And the reason why they stay in that abusive relationship is that on some level, they're choosing it. And that level may be as deep and as subconscious as, I've been in this relationship for the last 5 years. Yes, I've been beaten, but I've always had a roof over my head. Therefore, lizard brain thinks that staying in that relationship is the safest thing to do. And when you do split up, you may go and find another man who's exactly the same. Sometimes this can start with like your father's behavior towards your mother, and then you go look for that man, because that model of masculine energy to look after you may well be what your brain interprets as safety. Talking of brains and interpreting, I'm just going to go off on a little tangent here. Many moons ago, I was given this wonderful phrase, and I want to share it with you today, because this is an example of how your brain can kind of trick you into thinking something that isn't really the truth. So listen to this. Pain is your brain's opinion. Going backwards, your brain has formed the opinion that a certain set of signals being received in its coming up from the body, yeah, and being received in that way, that is pain, and it hurts and it's unpleasant. Your brain makes that decision, but sometimes your body makes the decision faster than your brain. For instance, if you put your finger on something hot, your body will take your finger off of that hot thing faster than a nervous signal that gets up to your brain to be interpreted as pain. So your body's sensations can create a reaction, even if your brain is not involved. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's why I'm kind of suggesting that if you struggle with any kind of behavior that is blocking your self-care, that you start using words like conscious and deliberate. Yeah. So that you can make conscious and deliberate action towards proving that something different is also safe. Hey, I'm sure you've heard things like, oh, how does it go? If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always got. Yeah. So if you keep repeating a behavior, if you keep putting somebody else first, when are you going to learn that putting yourself first is actually really important? Really, really important. Another way of looking at it is to get something different, you have to do something different. Yeah. So you're going to need to think differently, behave differently, move your body in a different way to get a different result, in order to build a habit that starts by taking that one step out of your comfort zone, and then consciously and deliberately building another habit so that another state becomes normal, another state becomes safety. Yeah? So you need to kind of scientifically prove to your lizard brain that not smoking every day is safe, rather than smoking every day showing your lizard brain that you need to smoke every day in order to be safe. I know it's a bit of a mind flip, yeah. But when it boils down to it, you know, we're making these choices and we're exhibiting these behaviors to our body by making these choices, and then our body is providing signals to our lizard brain to express safety, even when safety is not actually logically true. So when you're giving up smoking, for instance, there's a number of ways of doing it. I became quite an expert at giving up smoking before I finally stopped. I don't know if you caught the words there, but giving up is something I did often. Stopping is something I did once. And if you can provide proof to your body that if you don't smoke consciously and deliberately, you can then support yourself to feel safe while you are not smoking. And then continue to provide that proof for this different action. So it's not just like one day, it's 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Here's another example. Eating 10 biscuits with every cup of tea or coffee is proving that in order to stay alive and be safe, you need to eat 10 biscuits with every cup of tea or coffee. Yeah? Consciously eating less or none will provide the opposite proof. So by being conscious and deliberate, we can literally prove anything to our lizard brain. We can employ choice, accountability, and intention, yeah, for this to actually, you know, be really, really true. Really true. I'm now going to just share a little presentation, if I can get it to do it. I've been having tech difficulties with my computer lately. Yes, I think it's this screen. It might take a minute to load because I know it's really slow. Okay, let's see if I can find the present button. No, I don't want the app. Why does it keep asking me if I want to do an app? I've only just got used to, you know, using it for real, let alone using an app. So Canva is going to load up this little presentation I did to explain how providing support to ourselves is like the best thing ever. Now, okay, it's not showing it in present mode. Let's see if I can, oh, there we go, full screen. Ta-da, there it is. Blocks to self-care, why it is important to find proof. At the moment, you have proved to your body over and over again that doing something other than self-care is what keeps you safe. You need to educate and prove to your lizard brain that looking after yourself is what's going to keep not only you safe, but everybody around you safe. So I made this daft little presentation because last time I tried to do this like in real life with a bowl and a cup and a jug full of water, I made a terrible mess and wrecked a keyboard. Yeah, so we're not going to do that again. So I've made this silly little presentation instead. So in this example, this is you. You are the small cup inside life, which is the bowl. Yeah. Imagine you're one of those flimsy plastic cups because you're not looking after yourself. You're not employing any kind of self-care. You're getting really, really frazzled. You're losing all concept of who you are. And tasks, expectations, and stresses get poured into your world around this cup. And this cup has only got a little bit of battery power left, only a little bit of fuel left, because you're not looking after yourself. And as more and more water goes into that surrounding space, the pressure increases on the cup. As it fills up even more, there is too much pressure. Sorry, dog's about to bark and I thought I'd catch him. And the cup gets crushed by the water pressure. And if it doesn't get crushed by the water pressure, then the sheer weight of the world is going to come up the sides, fill, overflow into you and overwhelm you. You can see how doing this with a bowl and a cup and a jug held up in front of a camera is kind of dangerous. You're right, Bert. He's a grumbly boy. So if you look after yourself, you're a bigger cup in your world. You're a stronger cup. And when stresses are poured into your world, you can catch them. Yeah, they don't have to be swimming around in the outside world. You can catch them yourself. And once you're full, once you're fully cared for, once your self-care is fabulous, you can then overflow into the world around you and provide additional care and support and do more stuff effectively. And I know it sounds weird, but if you put time into self-care, you can actually give more to the people around you. And you remain enough and you remain full the more that gets poured in. And I think that's the end of the presentation because it's not skipping on. No, right, okay, so that's the end. So I hope that made a little bit of sense in terms of why self-care is important and how blocks to self-care can easily become these habits that seem like they're the only way to stay safe, like they are the rituals that keep you in this safe space. But if you look at them logically, look at them from the outside, look at them from the perspective of, is this like a smoking habit that my body thinks is keeping me safe, but it's not really safe. It's not what I want to be. It's not who I want to be. You can make these choices. And if you struggle to make these choices, then ask for some help, whether that's asking for help from me or from a friend or from your husband or even from a teacher. Ask. Because all of these helping and caring professionals out there, all of these coaches out there like me, we don't know who you are. We just know that you're out there. So every time we go online, every time I go online, whether it's a silly little live, just going to go walkies with the dog and then going live in the Facebook group, yeah, whether it's something like that, you can say, oh, I can't make it tonight. Can I watch the replay? And I'll send you the link. Seriously, all of these recordings are kept. I'm putting them together into a little playlist on YouTube called the Solution Bank, where all of these little nuggets, all of these little mini workshops are going to be held. So in the absence of people live, I'm just going to see if I can quickly flick back to Facebook to see if there's anybody in my messages messaging me privately. No, I can't see anything there. And where else do I look? Oh, yes, on the side of Zoom, in the Zoom chat thingy. Let's just have a quick chat there. Nope, there's nobody posted any questions in there either. So if you do have any questions, just pop them in the Facebook group and I will answer them. My dog's being so weird today. Bless his little heart. But anyway, if you've got a question that you don't want to post in the Facebook group, bearing in mind that is a private group, so only people in the group can see your comment, or even the membership, right? It doesn't show up in like your likes on Facebook. So it's private in there to just the people who are in there. And if for whatever reason you don't want to share publicly, not public, even if you don't want to share in the group, yeah, message me. Because I'm here. That's why I'm here. That's why I've trained. That's why all of this has happened. Yeah. Anyway, it's been nice to talk to you about how habits and patterns can actually be the biggest block to self-care. Behaviors that make us think that we're safe when they're really not a good idea. And how we can seek proof of doing things differently if we do it consciously deliberately and with care and compassion for ourselves. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording now, and I'll see you back in the group another day.